Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we are gearing this video more towards the beginner side, newer players who don't have whaley boxes to, outright beat some of these conquest battles, who need that extra little bit of help from a specific unit. And that specific unit is named Space Alice. So, every conquest battle, every one of these fights, up to the master difficulty, you are able to stun. Now, even at maxed out skill, Alice only has a 30% chance to proc, so the odds are against you a little bit. However, if you manage to hit with that stun on a specific turn, you can avoid a whole lot of trouble and avoid some of their more annoying mechanics for each boss. So today we're going to go through and I'm going to go into each master difficulty and I will show you what turn you need to stun on. So without further ado, let's dive in. Alright, so for Efreet's stage, you have to stun him on turn 1 because he buffs his attack and his crit rate to insane levels, especially for the newer player on Master. Again, the stunning strategy works for beginner, normal, expert, and Master. The only one you can't stun them on is EX, and at that point, if you don't have the box for EX, you're not going to beat it anyways. So, let's go ahead and see if we can proc the stun here, and oh, we do! Okay, so, normally, if we hold down on Efreet, normally turn 1 increases secret skill gauge, increases own attack, and crit rate. And this crit rate is where he does some serious damage to you. So now we get a free 2 turns, because we can smack him around here with my Demon Lord Rimuru. And then nothing. He does not buff himself, and now we can bring in Diablo in place of Alice, because Alice is no longer useful for anything. Even at 6 star, she's not really that great for anything. So now we have another turn, and then we'll see turn 2. And, well, that counter, he still crit though, so that's hilarious. But, we see that he buffs his own secret skill, which is, what he normally does, but he no longer has the attack buff or the crit buff here. So we could just sit here and take this, and it won't do, too much damage to us. It does a lot less than what we would normally take. So yeah, 3,000 right there with type neutral. Yeah, so turn 1 is where you want to stun Efreet. So now let's move on to the next conquest battle. Alright. Conquest battle number 2 against Charbdis. So Charbdis, you must stun him on turn 2. So turn 1 is a free turn, so we can go ahead and take Alice out. We'll bring in Diablo. We'll just smack him around a little bit. Turn 1, he doesn't do that much. He increases, I think, his pierce rate or something. Or, I don't really, hold on, yeah, pierce resistance. Sorry, there we go. But this second turn, so if we hold down on him, second turn, increases his own defense by 60% and guard rate by 40%. And this is what stops people from being able to get, the DPS they need to kill Cabby, because for 5 turns, you pretty much don't do damage. With his increased defense, even if you don't proc the guard, you're still going to do a lot less damage just from basic normal attacks. And the only way to get around that is to get that out of the way. So let's go ahead and bring in Alice for Rimuru and see if we can proc the stun here. Can we get lucky twice in a row? Oh, we do! Okay, so now he's stunned. Now we can go ahead and send Dark Milim after him. And next turn, he will not raise his defense and he will not put his guard up because he is whack out of his mind. And then we can bring in Dark Rimuru again for Alice. And yeah, we'll just do this. So then on turn 4, hey, crit. He will have no defensive buffs. He'll get the water attack up and he'll lower our water resistance, but he has no defense anymore, which means you can continue to do very good damage to him. So turn 2 for Master Charbdis is where you want to stun him. let's move on. Alright, here we are on Conquest number 3 against the Sky Dragon. This is another fight, just like Cabby, where you need to stun him on turn 2. Turn 1, he poisons our team. As you can see here, we are already on turn 2, but we've got the poison on. That, I mean, is unfortunate, but there's nothing really you can do about it, because you need to stun him on turn 2, because he does two things. He, 1, nerfs your attack for 5 turns, and puts his own guard rate up by 80%, so double the chance of guard than Cabby has, and he's nerfed your attack down, which means you don't really do anything to him if you get that on. So we're already on turn 2. Let's go ahead and hope for the stun here, and we miss. Okay, let's come back and we'll try that again. Alright, we're back to attempt the stun again on turn 2 against the Sky Dragon, and we miss again. Alright, well, I'm not going to sit here and wait for a 30% proc. You understand that you need to stun him on turn 2. So let's move on to the next Conquest fight. Alright, we are back. This time we are on Conquest number 4 for the Earth Golem. And the Earth Golem and the Orc of Disaster both work the same way. They do have to be stunned on turn 6. So not 1 or 2, but 6, is because you have 6 turns to nuke them into the ground with as much damage as you can. So, I mean, ideally this would be what you would look like if you were going to try and beat it. But we are going to show off what happens, if we stun, which is good, or if we don't stun, which is bad. So, the Golem and the Orc on turn 6 both boost their attack by 200%, pierce rate by 100%, and pierce power by 200%. And so they pretty much one-shot whoever it is, and that's for 2 turns. And then the next turn after, they heal, and then they nuke you into the ground. So you have to kill turn 6. Now, I'm not going to do the ults, but we're going to go ahead and try for the stun here to see if we proc it. And we don't. So let's just go ahead and send the 1 card and see what happens if you don't stun on turn 6. So there's a gigantic heal, there's a pierce power, and now Shizu's dead. And now Shizu is dead. And then, what happens if you don't kill on the following turn? Secret skill up, and then you get wiped. And then you go bye-bye. So, turn 6 is where you have to kill. We'll try this one more time to see if we can proc the stun on 6. But we won't give it too many shots. We'll be right back. Alright, we have seen what happens if you don't stun on turn 6. Hopefully we can get the stun here. Not guaranteed, but still, we can try. If not, we'll just move on to the next Conquest. And we don't. So, we already know what happens. You want to stun right here on turn 6 if you need to prolong the fight. Unfortunately, it's good to keep in mind that you only get until turn 8. And then they nuke you again. So, even if you get the stun on turn 6, that gives you 2 extra turns to kill before he again nukes you. And the chances for you proccing 2 stuns in Conquest, on this Conquest, are quite low. But, turn 6 for the Golem, let's move on. Alright, we are now on Conquest Hinata stage. Now, Hinata, we're going back to the way the previous ones were, where you stun on turn 2, because that's when she gets her defense and guard. So turn 1 right here, we can go ahead and just send Demon Lord Reimu right here. And she gets crit resistance on turn 1, which isn't, all that incredible. But turn 2, if we hold down here, she increases her defense by 60%, her guard rate by 40%, and her super guard rate by 50%. So you will do actually no damage. So, the idea is that you want to stun her before she can pull that up. So let's try it here, and yeah, of course we miss it. So, we'll come back for one more try. Alright, here we are again. Let's try the stun one more time, and oh, we got it. Okay, sweet. So, now, actually, this is a very good turn that we can show off the power of this team. So we'll go ahead and use Beretta. We'll use her orb change. And then we'll use the Orc right here, and then we'll have a full hand send. And Hinata will no longer have any additional defense, no additional power to defend herself with, and she's just a sitting duck at this point. And after this 6-card combo, which we're doing really good damage with my level 100 team, and now she just has her pierce, her crit resistance down, but she no longer has any defense, and now we can send all of this at her, and she will actually be very close to death. But, so turn 2 for Hinata, very simple in, on paper, whether or not you can proc that stun, as you've seen in the previous one. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And now she gets her resistance, which is not too big of a deal. It's not the game breaker. We can probably kill her right here. But let's move on to the second to last Conquest. Alright. Second to last Conquest. The Orc of Disaster works the same way as I mentioned previously as the Earth Golem, where you must stun on turn 6 or he will wipe you off the face of the planet. So we are on turn 6 right here. Let's go ahead and try and proc that stun, and of course we miss it, so once more with feeling. Alright, let's try it once more with feeling to see if we can get the stun on turn 6, and we do! Awesome. Okay. So now let's go ahead and take Alice out. We're not going to kill here because I want to show you what happens if we don't, if he doesn't do anything on turn 6. Like I said earlier, we do get 2 more turns out of this. Only 2 though. So you're not safe for the rest of the fight. So, turn 6 is done. We're now on turn 7. We'll go ahead and do this. We're not going to use these ults and kill him. We're now on to turn 8. He now has an ult, and now if we don't kill him on turn 8, he's going to launch an ult and buff and wipe. So let's just see how that works out. Okay. Turn 8 comes, there's his heal, there's his attack buff, and bye-bye. So, you get 2 extra turns to do what you need to do. Obviously, we could have nuked him out of existence anytime before that, but turn 6 gives you a little bit more chance at life, and then you must kill him. The same goes with the Golem. If you get the stun on turn 6, then you will get 2 extra turns, and then you have to kill, or else he will kill you again. So, that's it for the Orc. Let's move on to the very last Conquest stage of this video. Alright, we have made it to the final Conquest in the game, the hardest Conquest in the game, and I will hear 0 arguments. Yes, the Orc and the Golem have turn restrictions, however, if you do not have the team, and you do not have the Protector, and you do not have the gear, Space Millum will melt you. Like hot knife through butter. So, you must stun her turn 1, because on turn 1 she gives herself a 70% attack boost and a pierce rate by 80%, which means you're going to take a lot of damage. So let's see if we can get that stun on turn 1, and we don't. So watch what happens to our health if we don't get it. Granted, this is mastered, my units are level 100, however, it still hurts a lot. Oh, she guards. Hey, we got a counterattack without the Protector. And the resist, and the pierce. I mean, these units are level 100, and she only put 1 attack on Millum, and she's missing a decent chunk. So imagine if you didn't have good gear, if your units were not level 100, and you took 4 attacks to the face. Your unit will die. You will die. So let's come back, let's try and get the stun 1 more time on Millum, and then we will wrap up the video. Let's try this just 1 more time. 1 more time for the stun, and of course we don't get it. Well, alright. I think I've done this like 10 times now. So, tired of doing that. But let's go ahead and review all of the stages just as a quick wrap up. So, in Conquest, on Efreet, you must stun on turn 1 so you can avoid the crit buff. On Charbdis, you must stun on turn 2 so he cannot use his defense and guard. Sky Dragon also turn 2 for the defense and guard. The Golem and the Orc are stuns on turn 6 to avoid them completely wiping your team. Hinata is a stun on turn 2 to avoid the defense and guard, and Milim is the stun on turn 1 to avoid her attack and pierce boost. So hopefully this gives you beginners a little bit more clarity on when and where you need to use the Alice stun. Again, even at max even at maximum, Alice only has a 30% chance to proc. Thankfully, the game does not really punish you for resetting stages over and over and over again until you get that 30% to actually proc. So sometimes it's just a exercise in patience. But let me know in the comments if this helped you guys out. That's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.